Aloha, everybody. How are you? I am okay. Wow. All I have to say is wow. If you follow me, and watch these YouTube videos or any of my little mini cover clips and stuff I share on Instagram and sometimes on Facebook, um, you know that I'm probably by now, that I am a spiritual person. That's what I'm trying to say. I haven't done this for a while, so I have to really process what I'm doing here. I'm not used to staring at myself in a camera and talking. I'm used to singing and being in a different vibe. Talking and singing are obviously very similar, but also very different because it requires a level of skill to actually sound good while you're singing. You can sing, sure, it could be easy, but do you sound good? Are you singing right? Are you not damaging your vocals and whatnot? Anyways, I digress. I guess I do that quite often. And those who know me know. But anyways, I try to stay more focused in my learning and in my meditations that I do and the practice that I am very fully immersed in, especially over the last 9 years of existence here on this earth, in this dimension and such. So yeah, to say the least, we have been through a lot. Everyone, the collective consciousness, we're all going through some sort of transformational, intense experience. I think pretty much everyone could attest to that on this here Aiwa, which in Rastafari, I believe Aiwa is, in this plane of existence. And I'm not Rastafarian or Farian. Rastafarian, tomato. I am just a spiritual person, infinite body person having this experience. And phone is starting. He's going to get a video because mommy's trying to do a video for herself. And I probably should do these when they're sleeping, but I'm usually too tired because I'm trying to catch up on my own stuff and, wanting to go to bed early and not be all tired from the night before kind of thing. Okay, go in the other room. Go on the beanbag. Here you go. Just for a little while. He gets a little bit of screen time, maybe about 15 minutes here and there. I mean, let's keep it real, folks. It's like a babysitter, especially when you don't have a babysitter, except for maybe the partner, which there's a gray area with that conversation, and I will explain that maybe in another video. But I'm very fortunate that I have the help of their father, for sure. So it's not that I'm by myself, but we would both need a babysitter to kind of get through what we do from working at home and homeschooling. And we've been doing this before the plandemic. Yes, you heard me say that. So that's my view on that. If you know that term, you'll understand what my view is. But anyways, I have been pretty much fully raw for 4.5 months, almost 5 months. Yeah, it's been since November. And yeah, it's been almost 4 months then, excuse me. But I did have a couple cheat days recently. More like 3. But they were spread out in a time frame that, well, the first 2 were not, and then I got a cold. So I have been raw 95% of the time, basically, but it matters to be 100, and I'm just almost teetering on that. And if you have been following my journey with my raw food experience, mainly eating organic or all organic if possible, and mainly local, uncooked food, nothing going through the fires of the death process, because that's actually not even just quotation on that. It is that. But some people wouldn't agree, so I don't know, I do that whole thing with my hands. It's interesting, right? Some people use their hands when they talk, or they, don't. But anywho, back on subject. I'm going to be talking of a myriad of things, by the way, but mainly about my raw vegan journey. And it's now coined as raw vegan. So it's not just vegan, so to speak, because I do eat raw honey, but I don't really like it that much. So I don't have it often. But it is a cruelty-free farm over here where I am currently. I know that it's just an amazing product, and any of the other honeys that I get, I end up doing the research on them too, especially if the kids are eating them most of the time. And all the ones pretty much I've come to find out about and, like just kind of dabble with, I've figured out that they're also cruelty free. And you can tell by the flavor of the honey if the vibe is good, just like any flavor of any food. So anyways, I can't stress enough the importance of eating raw living foods, especially in these days with what's going on with our health and this whole mask propaganda thing that's been, planned probably for years. We don't know. But I'm saying that, in my opinion, I believe that this was planned. That's why I say plandemic. So that's that. So I'm very proud of myself overall, even though I had those tres momentos of, so-called cheating myself and my health, my raw vegan journey. But, you have weak moments sometimes. You can't be so hard on yourself and beat yourself up over it, but you have to learn from it, people, right? Because you don't want to keep feeling ill, and the body not feeling at ease, dis-ease, is just a matter of what you're putting into it, thoughts and energy through what you're ingesting through your mouth. So ingestion, literally from both. You're not obviously ingesting through your skin like that, but you are taking in, you're absorbing energy around you. And then you have your thoughts. So your external, internal, which is obviously the focal, the center, but then you have the external absorption of energy. And then you have the ingestion, the actual physical absorption of energy. And for me, as hard as it's been for me to stay raw, I realize how immense the benefits are. And it's very challenging for most people to stay raw, to stay on living foods, because we have built these addictions and, codependencies, obviously the same thing with food. And it starts when you're a child. Your relationship to food begins when you're a baby. How you were fed, what you were fed, what times you were fed, how much you were fed, all of this matters, and you have to take it into account. I used to trip out growing up when I would go through chubby stages. How am I still not full? My stomach was like a bottomless pit. And it's because you have parasites in there just feeding off of all this junk, all these processed foods. I ate everything under the sun. But luckily, I was born and raised on the Hawaiian Islands. So I had the fresh air. I had the fresh fish and the fresh, fruits and vegetables, because we would always have a salad with our meals, but then there would be those slabs of God knows what, animal product. And for me, I never liked it. I always would spit the meat, the steak out that my mom would make, and they would be slathering A1 sauce on it, the butter on the rice, everything. And bless their souls, on this journey. Our parents don't always know. We are just here as vessels of growth, and just to be able to absorb and learn. This is a total playing field and a school of thought, and a school of, physical, mental, spiritual education. And, our parents did the best they could, but growing up eating that kind of stuff, I couldn't chew that meat. It was like gum. I would just spit it out in my napkin, and because my mom wouldn't let me leave the table unless I ate all my meal. What if I just wasn't hungry that night? What if I wanted to fast? You know what? Fasting cures most disease, and most disease starts in the colon. If you don't know these things, research them yourself, right? The best thing to do is to always, be caught up on things, even if it's just through videos and, repetitious topics to see, okay, all of these professional people are talking about the same topic, and what insight can you take from what they're saying that works for you, that you believe is your truth? Because there is the truth, and then there's your truth, and that's not always the same thing. And it doesn't mean you're lying or someone else is lying to you necessarily, although it many times does. You could be lying to yourself, or you could be lying to someone else. Someone else could be lying to you. All of these things happen obviously in life, and that's part of where this teacher student playing ground and school of life comes through, because you have to decide and you have to use discernment, use your mind, your heart, and primarily your heart is your first brain. This is where life begins. We are love. We are the light and the darkness together as one in love. So use your mind and your heart in alignment together, just as you want to have everything in alignment, in all your chakras, in your higher self, in source, in the creator, supreme being, Lord, Jah Rastafari, whatever term you use in this world to describe that energy that created us, this vessel that we live in. Align the higher self with the lower self, with the ego, and decipher and use discernment with these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bodies, and make the right decision. Really intuitively feel what feels right and what feels wrong. Really go back to source, go back to your inner child, the spirit within you, and ask these questions. What is my truth? What is the truth? Because my truth is the truth when it's the right, right path, the righteous path. In Hawaiian, we say the pono path. And, it's difficult. There's a lot of distractions, social media, obviously everything. If you're a mother or a father, you have, all these jobs on top of the job of being a parent, obviously many of us do. Those are all distractions to take you away from, figuring these kinds of things out in life, like slowing down and breathing in and out of your nose. That's the optimum in-breath. And you should go a lot slower than that. So much slower. I'll probably do a video about that sometime, because I already did an anxiety or anti-anxiety, helping people with anxiety video. But I did not express the importance of breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And this is something of a more of a newer concept that I'm practicing that is really amazing. And if you do breath holds and all kinds of, fancy qigong techniques and yoga, stretching and everything else, that's wonderful. That I'm very aware and conscious of, and I'm not as, practiced and well-versed in these fields, but I'm very much appreciative and I respect them and love them so much, because it's so important. Breath is life. Just as water is life, breath is life, right? It's so true, right? So it's just like being able to just release through the breath. You actually breathe in the fresh air and release all the toxins through breathing out. You can heal your body if you connect to the places that are causing you pain. I have been dealing with some pain recently involving UTI. Not fun. Never had this before. And I'm breathing and massaging and focusing on that area so much. Your body breaks down so you'll wake up, so you don't keep abusing it if you are, which a lot of times we are, we're neglecting our bodies, which is abuse. It's just like the form of abuse in any other external way. If you tend to maybe forget things that you should be doing, your body's going to break down and there's going to be warning signs. And that's what's going on right now with my skin again. I'm dealing with a major detox. I have only been raw going on about 4.5, close to 5 months, but I had those 3 stints. And even before that, I was starting to get this. So I feel like a lot of it is also the water where I'm staying, because I have a very old catchment system I'm working with, but we have our own filtration that we buy to filter out a lot. And then we have a distiller. So through the distillation process, everything's taken out. And then we have our own magnesium and calcium that, and different types of other very important aspects, to put back into your water, minerals to put back in there. And I think I'm lacking some of those minerals right now, because I've been kind of in a, I guess you could say, off and on, but a glamping almost situation, but not quite. I've been very, very, very blessed. And I just appreciate my ohana, my close, close friend. She knows who she is, for helping me and my ohana during this time, because we are ohana, we're all ohana, but her and I, we go back in this life, like since we were just little teenagers, like 13 years old. So anyways, I've been very blessed to go on this journey, but I'm realizing the water here is not as fresh as I'm used to, and the fact that I am majorly detoxing from vegan cooked foods right now, I have a skin issue. It's basically like almost like a rosacea that's been coming on for the last few years, but this is really like another level of whoa. So I actually used manuka honey last night. I gave myself a manuka honey cleanse, and I also had a salt bath that I bathed in, because the salt really helps. And it's interesting because my 5-year-old Mahina recommended that I put salt on my skin, because my kids are noticing that it's gotten a little worse, but then it gets better, and they're like, oh, it's getting better, mama. And then they go, oh, mama, maybe you should put some salt on your skin today. So I've been going through this fluctuation for many, many years, but this is intense right now, because I have not been raw this long in at least 5 years. I don't think I was past 6 months fully raw more than once. I think it was like in 13 or 12, like 2012 or 13. But anyways, I'm dealing with this. But overall though, like for the most part, besides some ailments I'm dealing with this UTI thing, I was holding in that shishi too long. Don't hold in your urine too long. Don't not wash after being intimate. Don't not go shishi. Don't not go. So you know what shishi is if you didn't know before, because I'm dealing with that right now, and it's not making me feel very good. And my 3 times a charm non-cooked food thing was just pretty recent. So anyways, I'm still a kid with food sometimes, but for the most part, I've come a long, long way. Now I'm just trying to cope with my skin and, reconfigure that. But anyways, I'm very happy for the most part about my decisions, and I'm very excited for more learning and good vibes this year in 2021. Even 2020, there were still good vibes. This hasn't been a big change for me and my family, because we were already homeschooling and working from home anyway. 4 years already passed, so it's been not a huge transition that way, but it's definitely been stressful in other ways, but also a huge blessing in other ways. So I know everybody sees things like that. We do live in a world of duality. There's the good and the bad, and the gray area in between. And there's even the masculine and feminine sides of the face. If I'm sure you guys maybe have heard of that. If you draw a line down the center of anyone or yourself, you'll see what side is more masculine, what side's more feminine. And that makes sense, because my cheekbone is a little higher, and just a little, I think. But anyways, you see what I'm saying, because masculine side, feminine side. So, but yeah, I'm definitely upset about the way that my skin has been feeling, and the way that it's been not healing the way I want it to. And I've been trying different things, but not really. I've just been letting nature take its take its course, because I feel like this has a lot to do with the fact that even though I've been raw, I haven't been doing a lot of fasting. The weekly fasting I do with the moon phase, like the Essenes, Gospel of Peace. Look it up if you haven't yet. But I haven't been practicing the fasting of the meal once a week on the new moon phase as often as I should, but the last couple weeks I have done it. So I'm starting to feel more benefits of going raw. Overall, my energy levels are amazing, considering I'm not like super young anymore, but I'm still young, it's all relative. But I have 3 kids and I'm always with them, and I'm not in a place right now still yet where I can get a babysitter or have a regular, nanny, which I would like. But I'm going to get there. And this year I am praying that I can pull everything together to finish my EP, because I have one song out of my EP that I'm ready to complete. I had a couple songs back in 2017 I was going to finish, but I decided to shelf them. There were a lot of things going on during that time. A lot of things involving like changes in the relationship between their father and I. So yeah. And then now those changes are more like we just coexist and do what we can. But I'm going to be shifting gears pretty soon and taking some steps forward, getting myself going on my own with my projects and with life and stuff, and just fully just co-parenting vibes. So that is that. I'll talk about that another time. I already made 21 minutes. I don't know if anybody's going to watch this. It's so long. But anyways, I'm glad I got to catch up. I just wanted to remind you guys to always breathe in through the nose. And breathe out through the nose when you consciously think of breathing. Don't worry about being a mouth breather if you're a mouth breather, but don't do it as often as breathing through the nose, because you will feel better when you breathe through your nose. If you're not feeling good, if you have a headache, if you have a stomach ache, if you're achy, lay in bed and just focus on breathing through the nose. Even if you can't take super deep breaths, it will make a huge difference in your life. You will feel it pretty much after the second or third breath. I know for me, with my explantation situation, when I had my breast implants that I had for 7 years and 7 months removed, I still was receiving some of I still was feeling or receiving the pain in my chest from this area right above my heart. And sometimes I wake up, if I'm in a different position I shouldn't be in, like in between nursing or maybe nursing, it's painful. And then I go ahead and I do this breathing. I do my deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And sure enough, after the second or third breath, I'm already wanting to pass out, because I'm like half asleep anyway. It might just be in between, sleep, in the middle of the night. I usually notice it happens when I'm going to wake up, like in a couple hours. But if anybody has experienced chest pain, they understand how painful it can be. And, it's not hard to breathe, but it's just sore in that area when you breathe, or if you go on that side. So yeah, breathe, just breathe. Breathing is obviously life. We are 70 something, plus % water, about 70%. Water is also life. Those two things can heal you when you're not feeling well. And so can a cleanse, by fasting, refraining from food, or eating just really light food. One thing, mono eating. And also just being able to give your body that break is so important, because the metabolism is working hard, and that's what ages you too. So anyways, I feel good with the aging process for the most part, besides the skin issue. I love you guys, and I'm so glad I got to catch up today. I will probably not post for a while, but sometime soon enough. Say hi to my little lizard friend. Love you all. Aloha.